So now we're actually ready to test out our setup. We can't actually store any data yet because we still have to create a mapping. So there's still even more configuration, but we can at least test this out to make sure that we're able to hit the database and everything is working. So before we do that, I'm going to go into our Hibernate config, and for the session factory, the tools are a little bit older than the newer version of Hibernate. So right now, they're generating a couple of things that are a little bit dated. First of all, it's adding this name equals when you don't specify a name for a session factory, and this can cause an error. And second of all, in the DTDs, it actually specifies hibernate.sourceforge.net. You'll see a warning that comes up because this has changed, but we can leave that. That one's not a big deal. We do have to change this, though, because you will have a problem if you don't. So what we're basically going to do is we're just going to try to create a session, open a new session, and close it. And if we can do that, then we can be pretty sure that we configured everything correctly and we're able to access our database. So what we're going to do is do Hibernate utilities.get session factory, and then we're just going to say open session. That'll give us a new session. We'll store this in a variable called session. We'll need to import session, and then we're just going to say session.close. And that's pretty much it. So let's go ahead and run this. And we can look at the output here. Let's go ahead and make this big. So we got hello world. And then if you look through here, most of these are info. So we can see some of the things that loaded up. Anything that's info, we don't really have to worry about. We do have a warn here. And remember, this is that obsolete namespace. So it tells us that we should be using hibernate.org. You can change that if you want to, but it's not really important. And then we can see that session factor was configured, some additional information here. Everything looks right. It's saying what driver it's using. It's connecting to localhost, and it's using this connection property for our app user and our password, set up our dialect. Everything looks like it's working properly. So all signs point to that we have everything configured correctly and working. Now, if you see an exception here or some errors, you may have something configured incorrectly. You might have to go back through and make sure you have everything exact. I know this is fairly tedious, but I promise you that once you have everything working and configured, you won't have to go through this again, at least for a simple project. So it's important to get this set up the right way the first time. Take your time. Don't worry that this is taking a long time at first. It's a little bit intimidating, but once you get this set up, then things will be much faster and much easier inside of Hibernate.